7 a.m., I'm drinking coffee on my dock when the HOA president marches across my lawn with a surveyor and two sheriff's deputies in tow. Meredith doesn't knock. She stops 3 feet from me, shoves a clipboard in my face, and practically barks, "You have 48 hours to get off community lake access or we'll have it removed." Her perfume hits before the words do. Expensive, sharp, suffocating. Her white Lexus is idling crooked in my driveway, driver's door hanging open like she owns the place. The deputies look like they'd rather be anywhere else. Neighbors are already filming from their porches. I take another sip. Stay quiet. Because inside my house is a 1983 deed that doesn't just say I own this cabin and shoreline, it says I own the entire lakebed under Pinecrest Lake. Every dock on this water, all 40-something of them, including Meredith's oversized party palace, rests on land that legally belongs to me. She has no idea she just started a war with the one person who can, on paper, throw every single one of them off their lake. Would you stay quiet or end it right there? Drop your move in the comments. Watching this from HOA prison or free land? Tell me. 3 months before Meredith Collier stormed my property, I was somebody else. 43. Former Coast Guard rescue swimmer and diver. I was the guy they dropped from a helicopter into Blackwater at 3 a.m. to drag you out of a sinking boat and keep your lungs working until the paramedics could take over. 20 years of hold the line until help arrives. I left early, not because I was done, because my younger brother Noah never got to finish. Noah died 18 months ago. Aggressive leukemia, the kind that laughs at statistics and chemo schedules. We went from diagnosis to funeral in 7 months. 7 months of hospital fluorescence, antiseptic, and watching the strongest guy I knew get thinner every week. After he died, our shared townhouse near the base felt haunted. Every room was before the diagnosis, before the call, before the machines. We always talked about buying a lake place. When I'm done with my last tour, he'd say, when we're old and boring and sit on a dock with coffee. He never got there. So I did it for both of us. I sold the townhouse, cleared about $320,000, and bought a beat-up 1910 cedar cottage on Pinecrest Lake in northern Michigan. Year-round population 400, summer population 2 mini trucks with kayaks. 2.5 acres, around 200 feet of shoreline, loons at dawn, mist sitting on black glass water like something out of a postcard. Moving day, I stood on that dock with gas station coffee and realized for the first time in a year, I felt something that wasn't just grief. Wet cedar shingles, cold air cutting my lungs, screen door begging for WD-40. I didn't care. It was perfect. Peace lasted exactly 36 hours. Day 2, 7:30 a.m., I'm hauling boxes from the U-Haul when gravel crunches. White Lexus SUV, vanity plate, lake love. Woman gets out, late 40s, yoga-toned, blonde bob, designer athletic wear, sunglasses perched on her head like a tiara. She doesn't knock, doesn't wait at the walkway. She walks straight through my open garage like it's a lobby and out to my dock like she built it. "Good morning," she says, voice sharp enough to strip paint. "I'm Meredith Collier, Pinecrest Shores HOA president, 11 years. I'm holding a box with Noah's favorite coffee mugs. We need to discuss your dock permit. It's under review. You're currently violating community waterfront covenants. I'm not part of an HOA. She hands me a 20-page packet, welcome packet, in cursive on the front. Inside, dues, rules, architectural review forms, kayak color palettes, mandatory lake day volunteer hours. Sweetheart, and I'm already done with her. Everyone on Pinecrest Lake is part of Pinecrest Shores. Your ignorance doesn't create exemptions. First dues check by Friday. $475 monthly plus $250 new owner fee. Cash or check. She pivots, heels clicking back across my concrete like she's on a runway, and drives off. No questions, no, how was your drive, just a bill and a threat. I stand there with the packet in my hand and rage crawling up my spine. This was supposed to be sanctuary. The thing Noah and I talked about when the world was on fire. Now some self-appointed monarch is telling me I'm trespassing on my own land? I call my real estate attorney, Priya Shah. Mid-30s, sharper than broken glass, allergic to bullshit. Did I buy into an HOA? I ask. Pause. Papers rustling. Keyboard clacking. Not per your deed, she says. Forward whatever she gave you. Every page. Something smells wrong. I photograph all 20 pages, send them, and go sit on the dock. 4-count breathing. In, hold, out, hold. The same pattern that kept my hands steady on rescue lines in 10-foot seas. 20 minutes later, she texts, "Do not sign anything. Call me tonight." 5 minutes after that, I get a text from an unknown local number. "This is Mark Kazmarek, 2 houses down. Saw Meredith leave your place. She did this to the last guy who owned lakefront outside the HOA. Forced him out in 8 months. Be careful. She doesn't lose." I stare at that message. So, this wasn't her first time. Meredith had a playbook, a success rate, a pattern of making non-compliant people disappear. She just didn't know she'd picked the wrong person this time. I'd spent 20 years jumping out of helicopters into cold, dark water. She thought I was going to fold over a fake welcome packet. Rescue swimmers don't swim away from storms. We swim straight into them. That night, I call Priya. "Your deed is clean," she says. "No HOA covenants, no recorded restrictions, no nothing. She's bluffing. That packet has as much legal weight as a takeout menu." So I just ignore her? Legally, yes. Practically, she sighs. People like Meredith don't stop when they're wrong. They stop when they're done. You need ammo. It'll be in public records. I'm pulling your full chain of title tomorrow, all the way back to lumber barons. Sleep doesn't come easy. At 2 a.m., I'm staring at the knotty pine ceiling, listening to the house settle, thinking about Mark's text. She doesn't lose. Well, we'd see.
Week 1 turns into psychological warfare. Each morning, Meredith patrols in her pontoon boat, white fiberglass, twin outboards, LED cup holders, the whole catalog. She idles 40-50 feet off my dock with binoculars up, photographing what exactly? My coffee mug? Gas fumes drift across the water, souring the clean pine air that sold me on this place. I stand there on my dock in my hoodie, raise my mug, and give her the friendliest wave I can manage. Her jaw tightens, she guns it, her wake slams into my pilings. Small victory, I'll take it. Then comes the certified letter. Thick envelope, impressive-looking law firm logo, Hutchins and Marlowe, LLP. Cease and desist. Claims my dock violates established community lake access covenants and demands I halt all unauthorized use of Pinecrest Lake waters. I look up the firm. No website. The address is a UPS store in the next county. Meredith is threatening me with fictional lawyers. Next, an email blast to all HOA members, CCing ye for effect. It is with regret I inform our newest lakefront resident refuses to pay dues or honor community covenants. Legal counsel has been retained. We will protect our shared resources. Unity matters. Minus Meredith Collier, President. I'm reading it for the second time, feeling heat climb my neck when my doorbell rings. Older couple on the porch, flannel and cardigans, nervous smiles. "Mark, this is Elise. I texted you. Can we come in?" I make real coffee, not whatever burned tar I'd been getting at the gas station, and we sit at my small kitchen table. They look like people about to confess a crime they didn't commit. Mark says finally, "She destroyed the guy before you. Army vet. Purple Heart. She hit him with violations for everything. Fire pit too close to water, improper dock ladder, guests parking wrong, fake legal threats, liens. He sold for 60% of what it was worth." Elise's hands twist around her mug. Her brother-in-law's LLC bought it. It's an Airbnb now. 6 properties in 5 years. Same script. Why hasn't anyone fought back? I ask. They trade that married couple look that means this is going to sound bad. We tried once, Elise says. She fined us $600 because our mailbox post had unapproved natural weathering. When we argued, she threatened a lien. We paid. We're on fixed income. Most of us are. Mark adds, 8, maybe 10 of us want her gone, but she's tight with the county zoning chair, the township board, and she tells everyone she has an unlimited legal budget. We have pensions and Social Security. What makes you think I'm different? I ask. Mark studies me for a long moment, then smiles a little. You didn't pay, he says. You didn't apologize. And you've got the eyes of someone who already lost the worst thing in his life. People like that, Meredith can't scare them like she scares us. He's right. The next day, I drive 40 minutes to the Ashford County Records office. Beige walls, flickering fluorescent lights, smell of old paper and burned coffee. An older clerk named Phyllis, cat-eye glasses and floral blouse, pulls microfilm reels and dusty ledgers like it's a treasure hunt. Interesting parcel, she says. Lots of old logging history. I spend 4 hours scrolling through land records, neck stiff, fingers slightly numb. My deed leads back to a 1940s plat. Original owner, Harlan Tierney, lumber baron. Guy owned 4,000 acres, including the entire basin that would become Pinecrest Lake. When he subdivided in the 50s, he sold offshore lots, but not the lake bed. I remember Priya mentioning water and mineral rights sometimes stay separate from surface land. Old lockworks. Most people never check. In 1991, Tierney's estate sells the lakebed to a private trust. In 2019, that trust dissolves. The lakebed is auctioned quietly. The buyer is listed as North Point Legacy Holdings, LLC. My LLC. Priya formed it when I left the Coast Guard for future planning. She named it. I barely glanced at the paperwork back then. I sit back, blink. I didn't just buy the cabin and shoreline. I bought the entire lakebed under Pinecrest Lake as part of the package. From 10 feet offshore, all the way to the middle, mine. Every dock, every lift, every swim platform, including Meredith's $40,000 vinyl and composite monument to herself. I step outside into the late afternoon light, hand shaking, and call Priya. I need a marine surveyor, I say. She doesn't ask why first. Then she thinks better of it. Caleb, what did you find? I own the lakebed. All of it. There's a long silence. Then she laughs once, sharply. Oh, Meredith is going to absolutely lose her mind. For the first time in days, I smile. I say, good. 3 days later, the surveyor shows up in a small boat that looks like it escaped from the Coast Guard. Name's Carl, late 60s, skin like old leather. 40 years mapping water for utilities and county projects. We spend 6 hours on the lake. Sonar pinging, GPS blinking, equipment humming. You weren't kidding, he says finally, showing me the digital map. From 10 feet offshore to dead center, that's all within your meets and bounds. Every dock, every lift, and every swim platform is technically on your property, especially that monster over there. He points towards Meredith's setup. Double-wide dock, motorized lifts, LED rail lights, the whole deal. Especially that one, I say. Carl grins. This is going to be interesting, huh? I pay him, get the certified survey, and that night I sit on my rebuilt dock with a beer and watch the sun melt into the water. Loons call somewhere down shore. I call Priya. What can I actually do with this? I ask. Legally, you could revoke all dock easements tomorrow. Practically, you'd be the most hated man in Michigan. I don't want to punish the good ones, just her and the people she uses as weapons. Then you'll need documented cause, harassment, bad faith, threats. Build the file first, then act. That file is about to build itself. Meredith brings the hammer down in week 3. She files a complaint with county zoning, claiming my dock is unpermitted, violates setbacks, and harms community shoreline aesthetics. All lies. The dock's older than most of the houses on this lake. The complaint triggers an automatic investigation anyway. Time, paperwork, stress. That's the point. 2 days later, a certified invoice shows up. Pinecrest Shores HOA letterhead, very official looking. Past due HOA dues and special assessments, $1,925. Pay in 10 days or face a lien and possible dock removal. I'm laughing when Priya calls. You get the zoning complaint? And a fake bill. Perfect, she says. She's writing your harassment case for you. Keep every envelope, every email. That night, Meredith sends the email I've been waiting for. Emergency HOA meeting. Mandatory attendance. Urgent violations threatening community values and property prices. I debate staying home just to piss her off, then decide I want front row seats to her performance. The community hall smells like burnt coffee and industrial floor cleaner. Fluorescent hum overhead, maybe 50 people in folding chairs. Meredith stands at the front with a projector setup that costs more than my first car. Laptop, wireless clicker, the whole TED Talk starter kit. Her perfume hits me 5 seconds before her voice does. I sit in the back. She spots me. For half a second, her face does something feral. Then the fake smile snaps on. "Thank you for coming," she says, voice too loud. "We face an existential threat to our community." Click. My property appears on the screen. Photos clearly taken from her pontoon. Zoomed in just enough to feel creepy. Our newest resident refuses basic compliance. Click. My front yard, where I've let clover and native grasses grow instead of doing the golf course thing. Unmanaged vegetation exceeding height limits. Click. My dock. Unauthorized structure encroaching on community waters. Click. My F-150 in the driveway. Commercial vehicle parked in residential zone. An older woman in the third row actually laughs, tries to cover it with a cough. Meredith plows ahead. She says, "I propose progressive fines, $500 per day per violation until full compliance." Silence. A guy in the second row clears his throat. "Isn't that a little excessive is allowing one person to drag down all of our property values?" She calls for a vote. Hands creep up. 30-something yeses. Nobody dares vote no. I stand. Every head turns. I've just got one question. What's your legal basis for fining someone who's not a member of your HOA? Her smile could frost the lake in July. "You live on Pinecrest," she says. "That makes you subject to Pinecrest Shores covenants whether you acknowledge them or not." I nod slowly. Huh. I'll mention that to my attorney. She's going to find that fascinating. Then I walk out. The room erupts behind me. In the parking lot, gravel crunches and I hear boots behind me. It's Mark and Elise. With them is a broad-shouldered black man in his late 60s, weathered face, eyes like he's seen every version of this before. "Thomas Whitfield," he says, shaking my hand. "Tom, 40 years on this lake." He nods back at the building. "She pulled the same garbage on me in '09. Claimed my dock violated some updated guidelines. I got a lawyer. She backed off. She's worse now." He studies my face. "You're not scared," he says plainly. I shake my head. Spent 20 years dropping into waves in the dark. She doesn't even move my heart rate. Tom grins. "Then maybe you're what this place needs. 8 of us are ready to fight. You in?" I think about Noah, about the hospital, about promises I made to dead people. Yeah, I'm in. Saturday evening, Tom dubs it Dock Court. 8 of us squeeze onto my dock with paper plates and mutiny. Mark and Elise bring potato salad. Min and Lin Yuen, software engineers with 2 kids currently hunting frogs in the shallows, bring spring rolls and craft beer. Mrs. Halverson, a widow in her 80s, arrives with cookies that smell like every grandma's kitchen ever. Patty, retired teacher, shows up with stories in a notebook. Marcus from the bait shop brings 2 years of violation notices Meredith's mailed him. I grill brats while they unload their grievances. Meredith called the Nguyen's solar panels ethnic visual clutter in an actual denial letter. She fined Mrs. Halverson because her dock had weathered to unauthorized gray. She told Marcus his hand-painted sign was commercial blight and threatened to fine him daily. Every story has the same pattern. Find a rule, twist it, extract money or compliance, repeat. I spread Carl's survey map on the dock between beer bottles. See this line? Everything from here out to mid-lake is mine, the lakebed. Silence lands heavy. Mark is the first to crack. He starts laughing so hard he has to put his drink down. You own the lake, he wheezes. Tom traces the boundary with one thick finger. Every dock is on your land, he says. I nod. And there's more. There's an old covenant in my chain of title from the 50s. Priya's still digging, but bottom line, dock easements are revocable if the lakebed owner is harassed. Leanne looks at me. You could actually ban Meredith from the water, she says quietly. The word hangs there. Could. Should? Mrs. Halverson's hand finds mine. Her skin is paper thin, but her grip is iron. My husband built our dock in '74. All 3 of my kids learned to swim there. My grandson caught his first bass off those boards last summer. I thought when I die, Meredith would take it with some fine I couldn't afford, sell the place for Airbnb money. I squeeze back. You are never losing that dock. I'm going to draft permanent easements, recorded at the county, free. They'll outlive all of us. Patty wipes her eyes. Marcus clears his throat like he's swallowing a boulder. The moment feels too big for a 20-foot dock. Sun's dropping, lake going gold and purple, kids laughing in the shallows. Tom raises his beer. To Caleb, and to Meredith's very, very bad Monday.
Monday morning, 5:30 a.m., mist on the water. I'm on the porch with coffee when a black Mercedes with Minneapolis plates glides into my drive like a shark. Guy gets out in the suit that costs more than my truck, hair slicked back, watch flashing in the early light. He doesn't introduce himself properly, just climbs the steps like he's already bought the place. I'm Brandon Lowe, he says finally, Meredith's brother-in-law. We should talk. Of course. I stay seated. Talk. He turns his phone toward me, shows a number. $500,000. Cash, he says. 20% over what you paid. Close in 30 days, you walk away. No more trouble. Everybody wins. I let the silence sit there between us. No, I say. The smile on his face stays, but his eyes go reptile. You're making a mistake, friend, he says. Meredith has the zoning chair on speed dial. Half the township board owes her favors. We can make permits vanish, we can make life difficult, or we can make you rich. Your call. I set my mug down and stand, slow. I did 20 years in the Coast Guard. You think I haven't heard threats phrased as friendly advice? His jaw tightens. We've cleared 3 properties already, bought them for 50 cents on the dollar after we nudged things along. You think you're special? I open the front door, step aside. Conversation's over, I say. Get off my property before I call the sheriff and tell him you just confessed to harassment and coercion. His face does a 4-stage color change. Shock, red, white, calculation. You're going to regret this, he says. Maybe, I say. But I stopped worrying about regret when Noah died. Now I just worry about what's right. Gravel spits from his tires as he leaves. I tap my phone screen, double-checking the recording app. 10 minutes later, I'm on the phone with Priya. I came in with a buyout offer and light mob threats. I got the whole speech on video. She actually laughs. Oh, Meredith is scared.
People who think they're winning don't send in suits and threats. They send in invoices. I tell her my idea. Permanent easements for good neighbors, revocations for Meredith and her inner circle. How fast can you draft? For this, she says, I'll work till dawn. This is more fun than half my billable hours. That afternoon, I start knocking on doors with manila envelopes. I've been the mysterious new guy on the lake for 3 weeks. Now I tell people my actual name and offer. Free permanent dock rights recorded at the county, no dues, no control from Meredith, just legal protection. Most of them cry. One old Marine with a purple heart on the wall shakes my hand like he's trying to fuse bones. Meredith said I'd lose my dock when the new structure plan came through. I was going to sell the house my wife grew up in. He signs. I watch decades of fear drop off him like a heavy coat. By sunset, I visited 30 homes, 28 sign on the spot. Maybe Noah was right. Beautiful places are worth fighting for. The next day, I finally opened the box I've been avoiding, Noah's stuff. He was a research nerd. While I was jumping out of helicopters, he was the guy with tabs on everything, from benefits paperwork to weird historical trivia. At the bottom of the box is a battered manila folder, purple ink on the tab, his favorite pen color. Pinecrest Project, N. My hands stop. He'd been researching this place from his hospital room, apparently, while I was too exhausted to show up more than do so. Inside, old subdivision plats from the 50s, copies of correspondence between the original developer and first buyers, clipped newspaper articles, and one document that makes my chest hurt. Yellowed pages. Covenant regarding lakebed rights and dock easements, dated April 55, signed by 12 original shoreline owners. The covenant is crystal clear. The lakebed owner retains all water rights permanently. Homeowners get dock easements revocable at the lakebed owner's sole discretion. Easements require good conduct, neighborly behavior, and support of community stewardship. Section 7 is the nuke. Any homeowner who engages in harassment, bad faith legal action, or coordinated efforts to deprive the lakebed owner of peaceful enjoyment automatically forfeits their easement. No hearing, no appeal. Meredith filed fake legal complaints, sent fraudulent invoices, weaponized votes for absurd fines, all aimed at me, the lakebed owner. She spent the last 6 weeks tripping every wire in this covenant. Clipped to the back page is a note, hospital letterhead, Noah's handwriting, shakier than I remember, but still his. Caleb, found this digging through county records on Pinecrest while you were on night shift. This place has fought off bullies before. The original owners weren't stupid. They built protections in. Now it's on you. Law is on your side. Lake is in your hands. Protect the good ones. Make it worth both our time. N. I sit on the floor for a long time, pages scattered, vision blurred. He knew. He didn't live to see it, but he knew. I sent Priya photos of everything. She whistles low over the phone. This covenant is bulletproof, recorded, runs with the land. Everyone after 55 is bound by it. And for the record, Meredith wrote your harassment case for you. You don't have to prove anything. It's all sitting in her emails and meeting minutes. Lakefest is in 3 weeks. Can we do the revocations then?
You want 300 witnesses? She asks. Yeah, I want everyone to see what happens when you weaponize power against your neighbors. Her voice changes, gets that command tone I recognize from my old COs. Then let's give them a show, she says. This is going to burn every bridge. I look at Noah's note. I don't need bridges, I say. I own the water. From then on, my dock becomes a war room. Every Wednesday at sunset, the coalition gathers. Tom, Mark, and Elise, the Nguyen's, Mrs. Halverson, Patty, Marcus, with Priya on speaker from her office an hour away. Tom drags over a whiteboard salvaged from the old elementary school. We draw flowcharts between fishing rods and coolers. Priya walks us through the plan in plain English. Easements aren't magic, she says. They're contracts. Meredith's acted like she granted your dock rights. She didn't. She couldn't. Caleb did without knowing it. Now he can reinforce or revoke them. We draft 3 things. Revocation notices. For Meredith and her 6 tightest allies, the ones who voted for escalating fines, helped with harassment, or profited off it. Each notice cites specific fake invoices, bogus complaints, and meeting minutes. They get 30 days of warning because we're generous, not because the covenant requires it. New permanent easements. For everyone else, about 40 homeowners who stayed neutral or pushed back on her nonsense. Dock rights irrevocable, recorded, free, no HOA leverage. You're not the villain stealing the lake, Priya reminds me. You're the guy protecting it from an abuser. Optics matter. Lien designs the agreements like a product UI, big font, clean layout, human language. No one gets lost. Criminal referral packet. Tom's friend Joanne, a retired IRS forensic accountant with big glasses and bigger energy, spends 2 weeks tearing through the HOA's bank statements Mark helped quietly get. She finds $100K plus in legal fees paid to shell companies tied to Brandon and Meredith, special assessments for dock repairs that never happened, and $4,000 monthly to Meredith's own landscaping LLC for maintaining a patch of grass. This isn't clever, Joanne says. It's just theft in yoga pants. We assign jobs. Priya polishes the legal stuff. Joanne makes charts even a jury half asleep could follow. Mark and Tom go door to door with easements. Marcus calls in a favor with a local paper, the Ashford Beacon, and tips off the editor, Ruth, about big HOA fraud press conference at Lakefest. Someone reaches out to the DA's office. Assistant DA Carmen Ortiz is already known for hating white-collar nonsense. She agrees to swing by Lakefest. Meanwhile, Meredith is busy booking a classic rock cover band, renting a stage, and sending out increasingly unhinged emails about mandatory unity. 3 days before Lakefest, Meredith drops one last ultimatum in my mailbox. Last chance to comply before full legal action. Pay $2,400 by Friday or face liens and dock removal. I reply with 2 words. See you Saturday. She must think I'm finally coming to heel. She has no idea I'll be walking in with a covenant, a stack of revocations, an assistant DA, and a newspaper editor. 2 nights before Lakefest, Meredith's side escalates. Brandon shows up again, this time with 0 fake charm. Keep pushing and docks catch fire. People get hurt. Insurance gets interesting. I hold up my phone, recording app visibly running. That's a threat. Now it's evidence. You should leave. He does, throwing gravel. I call the sheriff. Deputy Crane comes out, listens to the recording, and nods slowly. People like this tend to get desperate right before they lose. Put cameras up if you haven't already. Tom and I install 4 that night. Motion detect, cloud storage. Good thing. At 3 a.m., 2 nights before Lakefest, my rescue mutt Hank loses his mind at the window. By the time I'm outside in boots and boxers, my dock is floating 20 feet offshore, lines clean cut, smashing into rocks. Composite boards split, hardware torn out. About $1,500 in damage, but that's not the point. It's a message. I check the cameras. 2 figures in hoodies, faces covered, moving fast. You can't see who they are, but the timing is not a coincidence. By 8 a.m., there are 6 trucks in my driveway. Tom, Mark, and Marcus, the Nguyen's, 2 guys I barely know, but who heard Meredith's people cut Caleb's dock loose and just showed up. They rebuild the dock in 7 hours. Better, stronger, reinforced cleats, marine-grade everything. Elise Mian bring food. Mrs. Halverson holds court from a lawn chair, barking advice. Kids catch minnows in the shallows. Someone puts on music. It turns into a party disguised as repair work. Around 3 p.m., Meredith drives by in her Lexus, windows down. She slows just long enough to see me surrounded by people helping, laughing, hammering. Her face looks like she licked a lemon. She's scared, Tom says, tightening a bolt. Good, I say. She should be. That night, I stand on the new boards with a beer. Hank leaning against my leg, phone buzzing with a text from Priya. Doc's ready, DA confirmed, reporter confirmed. You sure? I type back, Noah was sure. That's enough. Her reply, then let's finish it. Next up, a very public Lakefest.
Friday morning, the day before Lakefest, Meredith launches her final Facebook assault. The Pinecrest community group has about 800 members, full-time residents, weekenders, local businesses, anyone who's ever searched Pinecrest once. At 6 a.m., she posts, "Urgent. Newcomer threatens our community." A recent lakefront resident is refusing to pay lawful HOA dues, has threatened board members, and is attempting to privatize our lake through frivolous legal claims. He is unstable and dangerous. We are pursuing all legal remedies. For your safety, avoid contact. More details at tomorrow's Lake Fest. Unity and vigilance matter. Meredith Collier, President. I drink my coffee and watch the reactions roll in. Her loyalists pile on. "So scary. Thank you for protecting us." Angry emojis. But then Mark comments, "I've known Caleb 3 months. He's the opposite of dangerous. Ask yourself why Meredith is scared." Tom adds, "Lived here 40 years. Only unstable person I've seen is Meredith." Then little Mrs. Halverson, whose profile picture is a blurry cat, types in all caps, "She lied. Caleb gave me free dock rights. Meredith tried to fine me $600 for a mailbox. Who is the bully?" The comments turn into a war zone. Half the group clutches their pearls about property values. The other half starts asking uncomfortable questions. Lean posts a mic drop. "We rejected our solar panels and called them ethnic clutter in writing. We still have the letter. This isn't about community standards. It's about her power." That one gets a couple hundred reactions. I write a single reply. "All questions will be answered tomorrow at Lakefest, in public, with documents. I look forward to full transparency." Then I mute notifications. The real work isn't on Facebook. Saturday dawns hot and clear. Prime Laketown summer day. By 10 a.m., white tents bloom in the park, grills smoke, kids chase each other with water guns. The stage Meredith rented looms at the center like a gallows disguised as a bandstand. I arrive with a leather folder holding copies of the 1955 Covenant, the survey and deed pages showing lakebed ownership, 40-plus signed easements, 7 revocation notices, and Joanne's simple, brutal financial charts. Priya's already there, in a dress and sunglasses, looking like a guest, thinking like a war strategist. She asks me, "Are you ready?" I say, "No is ready. I'm just the delivery guy." By noon, there must be 300 people packed into the space. Residents, friends, curious folks from town who heard HOA drama and smelled good gossip. Mayor Hutchins is there, portly, sweating, allergic to conflict. Assistant DA Carmen Ortiz stands near the lemonade table, blazer on despite the heat, phone in hand. Ruth from the Beacon has her photographer set up near the stage. The air smells like sunscreen, charcoal, and tension. Meredith arrives at 12:15 in white linen, oversized sunglasses, and a confidence act you can feel cracking around the edges. Brandon trails behind her, face set. She circulates like a politician, hugging people, laughing, overperforming, but her hands shake when she thinks no one's looking. At 12:30, she takes the mic. "Welcome to Lakefest," she booms, "a celebration of unity, community, and the values that make Pinecrest special." Her loyalists clap. Everyone else does that polite half-clap you give a distant cousin at a wedding. She runs through the schedule. Band, raffle, fireworks. Then the tone shifts. "We've had challenges this year. A new lakefront resident who refuses to respect our community's standards. I'm pleased to announce we're implementing enhanced enforcement to protect property values." She announces increased dues, stricter architectural oversight, new mandatory volunteer hours. People start looking at each other, doing mental math. Then she makes the mistake. "We're also dealing with our non-compliant neighbor through proper legal channels. Some people think rules don't apply to them. We're here to show otherwise." She looks right at me when she says it. Winners don't gloat before the finish line. Mayor Hutchins shuffles up with a clipboard. We'll now open the floor for community comment. Please keep remarks brief. Actually, Mayor Meredith cuts in. We're running behind. Maybe we should... I registered to speak. I stand. First Amendment, Meredith. The crowd goes quiet. 300 heads swivel. Mayor Hutchins looks like a man caught between a live wire and a puddle. Mr. Mercer has the floor, he says finally. I walk up the steps, folder in hand. My heart is steady. 20 years of briefing in front of crews in command paid off. Hi, I say into the mic. I'm Caleb. I moved here 4 months ago. I left the Coast Guard after my brother died. We'd always talked about buying a lake place, so I took everything I had and bought this cabin. I wanted quiet. I got harassment instead. I hold up the HOA invoice. Meredith claims I owe dues, but my deed predates the HOA and has 0 covenants tying me to Pinecrest shores. Anyone can verify that at the county office. A murmur. People pull out phones. I claimed my dock is illegal, I continue. But here's what the county records actually say. I hold up the survey and deed pages. I own not just my shoreline, but the lakebed under Pinecrest Lake, from 10 feet off every shore to the middle. Every dock here is on my property, including hers. The crowd reacts like someone dropped a rock in the lake. Ripples. Gasps. Swearing. Laughter. Meredith goes paper white. And here's the part she didn't tell you, I say. Back in 1955, the original owners recorded a covenant. It gives dock easements on one condition. The lakebed owner is treated fairly. If the lakebed owner is harassed, threatened, or targeted with bad faith legal claims, those easements are automatically revoked. I hold up the covenant. Meredith sent me fake legal letters, fraudulent invoices, and tried to pass illegal fines, all documented. She has spent the last 6 weeks pulling the trigger on her own dock rights and on the rights of everyone who helped her. That's a lie! She snaps, grabbing for the mic. This is slander! I ignore her. I'm not here to punish good neighbors, I say. So far, I've granted free, permanent easements to 43 homeowners. No fees, no HOA control, recorded at the county. Your docks are safe.
I gesture at the crowd. Mark? Elise? Tom? The Newens? Mrs. Halverson? You've got copies. You can confirm. Hands go up. People nod. Someone waves their signed paper in the air. But some people, I say, used what should have been a community organization to steal from their neighbors. I pull out Joanne's charts. In the last 3 years, your HOA collected around $110,000 in legal fees and special assessments. Here's where it went. I flip the board. Lines of money into shell companies, payments to Brandon's LLCs, 4-digit monthly transfers to Meredith's landscaping firm. Very little of it went to actual repairs or services. Most of it went into Meredith and Brandon's pockets. And yes, the DA has copies. Carmen steps forward, badge visible. We'll be taking all of that, she says calmly into a second mic. Ruth's photographer is firing fast, camera shutter rattling like rain. Meredith lunges for the microphone. None of this is proven, she shrieks. He's making things up. I built this community. By stealing from us, someone shouts. You fined my kid $200 for chalk on the sidewalk, another voice yells. You told us we'd lose our dock if we didn't vote your way, someone else adds. The crowd turns. The fear that kept them compliant evaporates in real time. I pull out the stack of revocation notices from my folder. These, I say, are easement revocations from Meredith,
Brandon, and 6 board members who knowingly participated in harassment and fraud. They have 30 days to move their docks or negotiate in good faith. Everyone else is safe. "You can't do that," Meredith screams. "I'll sue." I meet her eyes, calm. "You already tried that. Judge tossed it last week. Remember?" Priya smiles behind her sunglasses. Carmen writes something in her notes. Meredith lunges for my papers. Brandon tries to grab her arm and misses. They stumble off the front of the stage in a flailing tangle, catch themselves, and stalk to the Lexus. People actually step out of their way. She peels out of the park, gravel spraying. The Simon stretches for a heartbeat. Then someone starts clapping. Then everyone is. 6 weeks later, Carmen files charges. Meredith and Brandon are each facing multiple counts: embezzlement, fraud, filing false reports, maybe even more if the feds get interested. Their lawyers try to spin, delay, blame everyone else. It doesn't matter. Joanne's math and the paper trail are brutal. By October, both of them plead out. Meredith gets probation, restitution, and a ban from serving on any HOA board in the state. Brandon loses his real estate license and gets his own probation term. By Halloween, their houses have new for sale signs. No one organizes a farewell party. 2 weeks after Lakefest, the HOA holds one last official meeting. 41 homeowners vote unanimously to dissolve Pinecrest Shore's HOA. I don't even go. This part is theirs. They replace it with the Pinecrest Lake Stewardship Committee, volunteer only, 0 dues, focused on conservation and throwing better events. Mark chairs it. Elise handles the books and posts the budget online monthly. Transparency as disinfectant. All 47 shoreline owners sign my permanent easements. Even 3 of Meredith's former allies eventually come to my kitchen table, apologize for believing her, and sign. The Newens frame their easement and hang it above the fireplace. Mrs. Halverson keeps hers in a plastic sleeve by the phone, edges worn soft from being touched. I take $25,000 from what's left of Noah's insurance money and set up 2 things. The Noah Mercer Memorial Scholarship, $2,000 a year for local kids going into maritime work, nursing, or emergency services. The first recipient is a quiet kid whose single mom works 2 jobs. She cries so hard at the ceremony, I have to look away or join her. The Pinecrest Conservation Fund, water testing, invasive species removal, shoreline restoration. Tom runs Saturday work parties. The Newens kids become ruthless little weed hunters. Families show up with gloves and snacks. Protecting the lake becomes something we do together, not something Meredith lectures about while stealing. Year 2 of Lakefest is just a festival. No speeches, no showdowns, just kids jumping off docks nobody can ever threaten again, burgers, bad sunburns, and a banner some teenager painted that says, Pinecrest Lake Festival, the good version. I finished the wildflower patch Noah and I talked about. Black-eyed Susans, coneflowers, milkweed for monarchs. Every August, the patch hums with butterflies. My body, and then slowly my brain, remembers what it's like to exist without constant adrenaline. My job shifts. I start teaching CPR and water safety classes to small rural departments out here. The work feels like something Noah would approve of. One morning, Ruth from the Beacon calls. Mrs. Halverson's son-in-law is trying to shove her into a home so he can grab her lake place. She asked if you'd take a look? I think of Noah's note. Protect the good ones. Make it beautiful again. I say, tell her I'm coming by. Put on a pot of coffee. I'm bringing Priya's number and a really bad mood towards predatory relatives. So that's how I went from being the unstable newcomer stealing the lake to the guy who accidentally ended up guarding it. If you've survived your own HOA nightmare, and based on my inbox, a lot of you have, drop it in the comments. Name names if your lawyer says it's safe. Bullies don't actually hate rules. They hate sunlight. Hit subscribe if you want to hear how we handled Mrs. Halverson's son-in-law. Spoiler, he likes money more than he likes court. Until then, read your deeds, check your HOA's finances, be kind to your neighbors, and never, ever assume the lady with the clipboard is actually in charge. Sometimes, the quiet guy on the dock owns all the docks.